Chapter 26. Summer had already begun to wane when Edgar finally, albeit reluctantly, agreed to their pleas, allowing Catherine and me to set off on our first ride to meet her cousin. The day was stifling and humid, lacking sunshine, yet the sky was so speckled and hazy that it didn't seem to promise rain. We had arranged to meet at the guide stone by the crossroads. However, upon our arrival, a young herd boy sent as a messenger informed us, "Master Linton is just this side of the Heights and would be much obliged if we could go a bit further." "Then Master Linton has forgotten his uncle's first instruction," I remarked. "He told us to stay on Grange land, and here we are, straying already." "Well, we'll turn our horses around once we reach him," my companion replied. "Our journey will take us back towards home." But when we reached him, barely a quarter of a mile from his own door, we found he had no horse, forcing us to dismount and let ours graze. He lay on the heath, waiting for us, and didn't rise until we were just a few yards away. Then he walked so weakly and looked so pale that I immediately exclaimed, "Master Heathcliff, you're in no condition to enjoy a walk this morning. You look terribly unwell." Catherine looked at him, her heart heavy with grief and surprise. The joy she had felt at seeing him again quickly turned into concern, and instead of a warm greeting, she found herself anxiously asking if he was feeling worse than usual. "No, better, better," he gasped, trembling slightly as he held onto her hand, as if needing its support. His large blue eyes darted over her face with a timid air, the shadows around them giving a wild, haunted look to what was once a languid gaze. "But you've been worse," his cousin insisted. "Worse than the last time I saw you. You're thinner and—" "I'm just tired," he cut in quickly. "It's too hot to walk. Let's rest here. And in the mornings, I often feel sick. Papa says I'm growing too fast." Not entirely reassured, Kathy sat down, and he lay beside her. "This is a bit like your idea of paradise," she said, trying to sound cheerful. "Remember the 2 days we promised to spend doing whatever each of us liked best? This is almost yours, except for the clouds. But they're so soft and mellow, it's nicer than sunshine. Next week, if you can, we'll ride down to Grange Park and try mine." Linton seemed to have no memory of what she was talking about, and he struggled to keep up any conversation. His lack of interest in her topics and his inability to engage with her was so apparent that she couldn't hide her disappointment. A profound change had overtaken his entire demeanor. The irritability that once could be softened into affection had given way to a detached indifference. Gone was the childish petulance that sought attention through meaning, replaced by the withdrawn sullenness of someone chronically unwell, rejecting comfort and viewing others' cheerfulness as an affront. Both Catherine and I noticed that he seemed to find our presence more of a burden than a pleasure, and she had no hesitation in suggesting we leave. This suggestion unexpectedly jolted Linton from his stupor, throwing him into a peculiar state of agitation. He glanced anxiously towards the Heights, pleading for her to stay at least another half-hour. "But I think," Kathy said, "you'd be more at ease at home than sitting here. And I can't entertain you today, I see, with my stories, songs, and chatter. You've grown wiser than I in these 6 months. You seem to have lost interest in my amusements. Or else, if I could entertain you, I'd gladly stay." "Stay to rest yourself," he replied. "And, Catherine, don't think or say that I'm very unwell. It's the oppressive weather and heat making me sluggish. I walked around quite a bit before you arrived. Tell Uncle I'm in decent health, will you?" "I'll tell him that you say so, Linton. I couldn't truthfully claim that you are," my young lady remarked, puzzled by his stubborn insistence on what was clearly untrue. "And make sure to come back next Thursday," he continued, avoiding her confused look. "And thank him for allowing you to visit. My deepest thanks, Catherine. And if you happen to see my father and he asks about me, don't let him think I've been silent and dull. Don't look so sad and downcast as you are now. He'll get angry." "I don't care about his anger," Kathy declared, assuming she would be the target. "But I do," her cousin replied, shivering. "Please, don't provoke him against me, Catherine. He's very harsh." "Is he harsh with you, Master Heathcliff?" I asked. "Has he tired of indulging you and moved from passive to active hatred?" Linton looked at me but didn't respond. After sitting beside him for another 10 minutes, during which his head drooped sleepily onto his chest, and he only made faint moans of exhaustion or pain, Kathy began to distract herself by searching for bilberries, sharing her findings with me. She didn't offer them to him, knowing further attention would only tire and irritate him. "Has it been half an hour yet, Ellen?" she whispered to me eventually. "I don't see why we should stay. He's asleep, and Father will be expecting us back." "Well, we shouldn't leave him sleeping," I said. "Let's wait until he wakes up and be patient. You were so eager to get going, but your desire to see poor Linton has faded quickly." "Why did he want to see me?" Catherine replied. "Even when he was at his most irritable, I liked him more than I do now in this strange mood. It feels like he's being forced into this meeting, as if he's afraid his father will reprimand him if he doesn't. But I'm not here to make Mr. Heathcliff happy, whatever his reasons for making Linton endure this ordeal. And while I'm glad his health has improved, I'm disappointed he's become less pleasant and affectionate towards me." "You think he's healthier then?" I asked. "Yes," she said, "because he used to make such a fuss about his ailments, you know. He's not as well as he asked me to tell Father, but he's probably better." "That's where we disagree, Miss Cathy," I noted. "I would guess he's much worse." At that moment, Linton awoke from his sleep in a state of confused fear, asking if someone had called his name. "No," Catherine said, "unless it was in your dreams. I can't fathom how you managed to nap outside in the morning." "I thought I heard my father," he gasped, looking up at the looming cliff above us. "Are you sure no one spoke?" "Absolutely sure," his cousin replied. "Ellen and I were just debating your health. Are you truly stronger, Linton, than when we parted last winter? If you are, I'm certain one thing hasn't grown stronger: your feelings for me. Tell me, is that true?" Tears welled up in Linton's eyes as he replied, "Yes, yes, I am." Still haunted by the imagined voice, His eyes darted around, searching for its source. Kathy stood up. "We have to part for today," she said, "and I won't hide that I'm deeply disappointed with our meeting. Though I'll confide this only to you, not because I fear Mr. Heathcliff." "Hush!" Linton murmured. "For God's sake, hush! He's coming." He clung to Catherine's arm, trying to hold her back, but with that warning, she quickly pulled away and called to Minnie, who responded to her like a loyal dog. "I'll be back next Thursday," she shouted, leaping onto the saddle. "Goodbye." "Quick, Ellen!" And so we left him, barely aware of our departure. So engrossed was he in the anticipation of his father's arrival. Before we reached home, Catherine's initial anger softened into a confused mix of pity and regret, tinged with vague, uneasy doubts about Linton's true situation, both physical and social. I shared these feelings, though I advised her not to dwell on them too much. A second visit would give us a clearer picture. My master asked for a report of our activities. His nephew's thanks were passed on, with Miss Cathy gently skimming over the rest. I, too, offered little clarity on his questions, uncertain of what to conceal and what to disclose.